Mark this date, ladies and gentlemen. Put a red circle around it. Put it in your memory as a tattoo. March 17th, 2026, a Tuesday. Because this is more than just a tennis competition taking place in Miami Gardens' Hard Rock Stadium. The professional women's tennis power system is undergoing a major upheaval. And in an attempt to keep up with a phenomenon they never anticipated and still don't fully comprehend, the establishment is completely fumbling and stumbling over itself. I'll paint you a picture. The Miami Open, the crown jewel of the Sunshine Double and one of the most prominent events on the WTA schedule, has just achieved something it has never done in its illustrious history. It's sold out. Absolutely. All of the tickets are gone. Disappeared into the hands of fans who moved more quickly than the servers could manage. There is absolutely nothing left to sell, therefore the box office is closed. This is where things become intriguing and extremely uncomfortable for those in charge of this sport, including marketing executives, schedule creators, and power brokers. The global number one is not the cause of this unheard-of, record-breaking demand. It's not the reigning champion. The Grand Slam veterans who have been accumulating awards and sponsorship deals for 10 years are not the ones. Alex Eala, a 20-year-old left-hander from Quezon City, Philippines, is the reason every seat in that stadium complex is occupied. As of Monday, March 16th, she achieved a career-high rating of world number 29. Give that some thought. Give it some time to marinade. Let it test all of your preconceived notions about professional tennis. The main factor influencing ticket sales at a WTA 1000 event is a player seated 31st. The official website for the competition crashed. It didn't slow down. It didn't lag. Under the weight of millions of people from the Philippines and across the world vying for a spot in the arena, it entirely collapsed. They weren't looking for places to watch the elite seeds warm up. They weren't scrolling through pages to catch a glimpse of the reigning champions. They were looking for somewhere to watch what they refer to as the Eala coronation. Additionally, those in authority were unprepared. They're still not prepared. They are in a panic, looking for answers to an unexpected issue. Compared to players who have been household names for years, have appeared on magazine covers, and had seven-figure sponsorship portfolios, a player outside the top 20 commands more attention, more passion, and more raw gravitational star power. Whether the establishment likes it or not, the ELA effect is changing the rules of professional tennis in real time. This moment did not appear out of nowhere, therefore we must discuss how we got here. It didn't appear fully developed like a sporting miracle. The official WTA rankings fell just one day before the Miami draw was announced, and everyone in the tennis community became agitated. At the age of 20, Alex Eala, ranked 29th in the world, made her maiden appearance in the top 30. She did not wait for permission to enter the elite rankings by courteously knocking on their door. She gave it a kick. With the subtlety of a thunderclap, she declared her arrival. Her success in Indian Wells, when she devastatingly advanced to the round of 16, served as fuel for this ascent. And you are well aware of what transpired there if you were paying attention and keeping an eye on the important courts. She forced her to retire from the match against world number 4 Coco Gauff, one of the most talked-about emerging talents in American tennis who has been trained for greatness since childhood. What Eala was bringing was too much for Gauff to handle. The pressure was too constant. The angles were too acute. There was just too much willpower and an unwavering refusal to give up even an inch. The tennis community was rocked by that outcome. It wasn't an anomaly. The day was not fortunate. It was proof of what the Pine Army had been yelling for months and what the supporters already understood. Alex Eala is not a flash-in-the-pan occurrence, a wild-card aberration, or a feel-good tale. She poses a real, indisputable, and serious threat to the status quo. This is where the story's commercial aspect gets incredibly intriguing and, to be honest, embarrassing for the event organizers who ought to have anticipated this. For Alex's games, the secondary ticket market is functioning at what can only be called stratospheric levels. We are discussing costs that would cause corporate leaders and investment bankers to recoil. In the meantime, courts with top 10 players are finding it difficult to fill half of their seats. This is the portion that is keeping the WTA executives up at night. Go back and read that. Stadiums are half empty for the top 10 players. Only standing room for a player ranked 31st. Similar to what we witnessed in Hong Kong and Melbourne, but larger, lines spanning more than 100 meters wound their way through the concourses. With Alex Eala, everything is always larger. With each tournament, match, and forehand winner that is put on the line, the phenomena intensifies. According to reports, the tournament officials are frantically trying to figure out how to control the crowds. They had no idea that a young Filipino woman would draw more people than any other name on the marquee. She was not the focal point of their marketing plan. They assumed she would be the major attraction, so they did not devote any security resources. As the Pine Army, her devoted fan base supported by 110 million Filipinos, turns the Hard Rock Stadium into what is essentially a Philippine home court on American soil, they are now playing catch-up and sending out desperate letters. However, this is the uncomfortable reality that the establishment whispers about in secret meetings and text messages but does not want to openly admit. Friction results from this degree of focus. Actual friction. The kind that boils over in locker rooms and explodes in private, hushed grievances. The kind that, when the cameras aren't rolling, becomes resentful. According to reports, a number of the top 10 players are publicly dissatisfied with what they refer to as Eala mania. They observe the prime-time court assignments and the practice schedules. They are furious when they witness a player ranked 31st receiving more media attention, larger audiences, and louder applause than reigning champions who have given up years to get there. The entire complex's vibe shifts when Alex Eala practices. Every court, hallway and area of the building is filled by a wall of sound produced by the Pine Army. It is impossible for other players to ignore. They are unable to get away from it. Follows them. It is an unavoidable daily reminder that the tournament's gravitational center has moved in the direction of a 20-year-old whose name they were probably unable to spell 2 years ago and who they were not ready to respect. Aryna Sabalenka has observed. Coco Gauff has observed. All of the players in that draw have taken notice. There is no denying the dramatic change in fan loyalty. It must be painful for athletes who have spent years developing their identities and growing their fan bases through innumerable interviews and social media campaigns to see a newbie command this degree of commitment. It must burn. However, one specific matchup that the draw has produced is the focus of the greatest anxiety, the collision course that has everyone clutching their breath. Iga Swiatek, ranked 3rd in the world, might be waiting for Alex in the 3rd round. Additionally, you are familiar with the history of tennis if you have even a passing interest in the sport. You are aware of what transpired in these same courts under these identical circumstances a year ago. March of 2025. Iga Swiatek, the world number 2 at the time and the dominant power in women's tennis, was defeated in straight sets by Alex Eala, a relative unknown on the grand stage at the time and a name that observers overlooked. Taken apart. That isn't exaggeration. Dramatic license is not what that is. That's exactly what took place. A left-hander who refused to be intimidated by reputation or ranking methodically dismantled Swiatek, the multiple Grand Slam champion and the player everyone expected to easily win another title. According to courts, Swiatek has been training with a laser-like attention on countering Alex's angles. She's been researching tape. She has been practicing patterns with her coaches that are intended to counteract Alex's strengths. That loss is still fresh in her mind. She will never forget that. On these courts, haunts her. Every practice session is plagued by the specter of that straight-set loss. Additionally, both teams are on high alert due to the potential for a rematch in round 3. This kind of preparation is more akin to a championship match than an early round contest. There are rumors, and since I'm not in the business of creating drama, I want to exercise caution since rumors are not facts. However, there are rumors that some veterans want Alex to crumble under the pressure of expectations. She is defending 390 ranking points after her journey to the semifinals the previous year. They are estimating that she will drop sharply in the rankings if she falters early or if the pressure gets to be too intense. From the prestigious top 30 back to the 1960s. She would lose her seeding rights as a result. That would compel her to return to the minor courts, qualifiers, and anonymity. However, the fact that Alex Eala is not playing for points is something that these veterans appear to be unable to comprehend. She's playing for a far bigger prize. She is competing for a top 20 mission that goes beyond individual competitions. Let me tell you about the weapon she has created for this campaign, the metamorphosis that has the entire tour on edge. Alex Eala and Rafael Nadal shared the court at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca a few weeks prior to the start of the 2026 season. She worked directly with the King of Clay, a 22-time Grand Slam champion and one of the greatest athletes in sports history. He provided her forehand technique advice. He spoke to her about having mental toughness, accepting pain, and finding strength when your body begs you to give up. He advised her to overcome her own physical limitations in order to place in the top 20. Her training under coach Joan Bosch and the Academy's top squad has been extremely taxing ever since that session. We are discussing 5-hour sessions in the scorching Spanish sun, inhumane endurance exercises created especially for Miami Gardens' intense heat and excessive humidity. She has been taking the ball earlier, rerouting it with surgical accuracy, and quickly switching from defense to attack. Coco Gauff was forced to retire at Indian Wells due to the same tactical approach. In a match that put every ounce of her conditioning to the test, she outlasted world number 8 Jasmine Paolini in Dubai thanks to this same physical superiority. While other players grumble about the sluggish courts and the heavy air in their post-match interviews, Alex Eala is made to flourish in 3-hour marathons, and her fitness levels are currently considered the most dangerous outside of the top 10. In order to make sure her body wouldn't crumble under the strain and that she would still be standing when the third set went past the 2-hour mark, she trained in Florida-like circumstances back in Spain. Every opponent in her portion of the draw should shudder when she shares this information with her 2 million social media followers. I'm attempting to identify and surpass my boundaries. That is not a quote from a motivational poster. You don't put that on a coffee mug. That's a declaration of intent. That is a war declaration. That poses a risk. The stakes are not merely athletic, therefore let's now discuss this story's financial aspect. They are economically significant on a level rarely seen in a single player outside of the top 10 in the tennis world. Alex Eala's popularity has grown to the point where billionaires are interested. There have been rumors that Bill Gates attended meetings regarding her long-term brand development and offered advice regarding her global academy plan. It remains to be seen if that becomes something tangible. However, this is the purpose. Her victories in Miami are worth more than just ranking points. It is a huge profit potential. Endorsement leverage is worthwhile. Global brand equity is valuable. She won't simply break into the top 20 if she holds on to her semi-final berth from the previous year or, even better, makes it to the final. She might break the 2026 record for the highest-paid Asian athlete. The tickets sold out because of this. There is more going on in the world than just tennis. The world is witnessing a young woman transcend the game itself and become a powerful economic force in her sport. However, this week is extremely significant due to the harsh maths that adds pressure on top of pressure. A 52-week rolling ranking system is used by the WTA. Alex scored 390 points during her run to the 2025 semifinals. They will soon be removed from the ledger. They are about to expire. The ranking damage will be disastrous if she loses early or struggles in the first few rounds. We are discussing a freefall that may erase months of work in a single afternoon, dropping her from world number 29 to somewhere in the 60s. This week's events will determine everything she has worked so hard to build over the previous year. Because she is seeded 31, she has a first-round bye. She will receive 10 points and advance to the round of 64 as a result. However, the gauntlet starts right away after that. She takes on the victor of Petra Martic and Laura Siegemann. These seasoned veterans have seen it all, know exactly how to play spoiler, and would do anything to put an end to the ELA phenomenon before it potentially collides with Spyentech in a third round. When you put everything together, the pressure is nearly unfathomable. From the Philippines and its diaspora around the world, 110 million people are watching. There are 390 important ranking points at stake. A prospective rematch with a player she humiliated on this same surface, and the possibility of becoming a billionaire in the future. It's all crammed into a single week at Hard Rock Stadium, where the lights will seem brighter than ever. However, Alex responded to a question about the pressure in a way that makes clear why she is unique. That is, why she has that elusive characteristic that sets contenders apart from champions and excellent players apart from great ones. Being under pressure is a privilege. The establishment can't figure out how to stop her because of this thinking. They can't intimidate someone who doesn't fear defeat because she is fundamentally aware that she has already prevailed in the most significant conflict, the struggle for the hearts and attention of the stadium-filling spectators. The organizers never expected the Pine Army to arrive in Miami in such large numbers. The stadium is completely booked. The center court is going to turn into a furnace where careers soar or stagnate and rankings are created or destroyed. A young woman from the Philippines who has spent her whole career being undervalued, ignored, and disregarded stands at the center of it all, bearing the dreams of an entire country on her 20-year-old shoulders. The tennis community sought to label this short-lived enthusiasm. When the next shiny object appeared, they wanted to write it off as an anomaly. However, they overlooked an important detail. They overlooked the fact that Alex Eala has the support of 110 million people who have been waiting for this opportunity for generations. They overlooked the fact that she is going back to the location where she defeated the world number 2 in straight sets. They overlooked the fact that she was shaped in the Rafa Nadal Academy, trained by legendary players, and armed with a tactical and physical arsenal created especially for situations like this one. The tickets are no longer available. Professional tension is building in the locker room and is on the verge of exploding. While keeping one eye on the young woman who is the center of attention, the veterans are anxiously observing and calculating their own pass through the draw. And the Quezon City Queen is going to enter the courtroom to remind everyone of the reasons they should pay attention and be terrified. This isn't only a competition. It's a coronation. The only remaining question is whether anyone in that draw has what it takes to put an end to the revolution, which has officially begun.